politicians on both sides of the aisle had expressed their condolences and had condemned this act of violence against a political figure. But let's keep in mind though.
But you hear this shit, dude? Even when Barack Obama himself says this is not good, this is not what we stand for as Americans. Even when Kamala Harris, when she literally comes out tweeting about this is not where we stand for, even the most iconic left-wing or liberal icons in America are talking about this is not okay, we should not condone this, we should condemn this. Then we have this bitch saying but after saying that. This is what I mean, man. The left has been brainwashed.
However, fuck that guy. I don't condone what happened to him, but guess what? God's timing is always right. Good day.
Yeah, that's horrific to say. And the fact that you're thinking that it was God's will for Charlie Kirk to die, to get shot in front of his family, you should be ashamed of yourself. Recording in 3, 2, 1. What's good, Kingdom? Yo, welcome back to the first video. I guess not really welcome back, but welcome to the first video. Unless you watch my channel trailer, but that's, I don't know, I don't count that. Anyway, listen up, alright? You've seen what's happened, okay? And I think this is a very important issue, a very important thing to talk about. And that is the uprising of silencing freedom of speech rights in the form of murder, okay? I think it's a very important issue that we have discovered. Obviously, there's nothing new that happened in America, right? They have had plenty of assassinations on political figures, right? But because it's now a different time, it feels way more surreal, in my opinion. And obviously, America is not the only country that has dealt with this. I tweeted yesterday a lot, actually. I was, I wouldn't say emotional, but I was, I don't know, I didn't feel great. I think a lot of things pissed me off a lot from just browsing majority Twitter. I don't really use any other platform that much. I don't know, man. I think that's what birthed this channel. I'm gonna be uploading, and I think it's very important to talk about things, right? And it's not just for the world, but it's also for me. I feel like I need something that outlets my thoughts, my frustrations, my criticisms about serious topics, right? You could kind of think about it like me just releasing some steam, I suppose, right? Without me having to hold back that much, right? Because obviously this channel is not monetized, so I don't have to worry about demonetization or whatever, which is great. Don't have to censor my shit, you know, don't have to censor fuck, shit, bullshit, retard, faggot, you know, all of that, right? I love that. Very good. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna hop into some tweets that I've replied to, that I have seen, and stuff like that, okay? Alright, so here we have a video I just recently saw, literally today. There's a woman reacting to, obviously, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Alright, so let's watch it.
Yo, that's crazy. See, that's why you don't share your opinions in a giant crowd like that. That's why you shut your fucking mouth. That's why you just don't speak. That's why you don't speak unless you're right. That's why right is right and wrong is wrong. And that's funny. But I didn't like what he said, and I didn't like his opinions, and I don't really give a shit that he's dead. Okay, that was funny. Ha ha ha, very funny. Alright, Charlie Kirk this, Charlie Kirk that.
Alright, well, I don't need to tell you how disgusting this video is, right? It is a very disturbing thought process, which is going rampant lately on specifically the left. They are heartless, they are, they just they want to kill people. They want people to be murdered because they don't agree with politics or rhetoric or opinions that they do not like. And I think that is a very dangerous thing that is happening in today's social climate. Obviously, social media has a huge issue with lack of censorship. Now, I don't want to censor people's freedom of speech, but I don't think promoting violence or terrorism is something we should be accepting, right? I don't think that is a thing that we should be accepting whatsoever. I think that's a very bad thing, right? Especially this woman right here, like saying that was funny. The fact that you watched a man get shot in the neck, like I can't fathom that. I am beyond horrified of the fact that this woman said that's funny. I would probably be a lot different than a lot of people's opinions about this. Well, I do find it disgusting that people are not respecting his death, right? I do understand it because, you know, the right has definitely been very disrespectful towards other people's deaths, right? So it's kind of a give and take kind of thing. Now, I never done that, right? I've never made fun of deaths of people. All right, I've not ever done that. I think that's bad, right? But I also have never cheered for somebody's death. I will never do that because frankly, I think that's very disgusting. It's disgusting behavior. I have not been, I've not grown up with that. I mean, like, I don't want to like come off as a huge fucking nerd, right? But my morals and values have primarily come from anime, right? And I'm not embarrassed to say that. I'm not embarrassed at all about that. Anime, games, other medias with like bad and good guys, right? Morally right, morally left, stuff like that, right? And then obviously, I'm not saying that, you know, that content is like a representation of the real world, right? I think the real world is way more complex and nuanced than, for example, the story of, oh, this guy wants to murder people and, you know, this guy wants to defeat him, right? Like, that's way more simplistic, way more black and white. And I don't think the world is as black and white as people would like to pretend it is. I think it's way deeper and nuanced than that. But I do find myself very conflicted with a lot of ideologies on both sides. I've never really thought of myself as like left or right. I've always been like me, I guess. I have always been supportive of things that I think are right and not supportive of things I don't think are right. Now, obviously, I'm not, you know, the most educated on everything, every politics, right? I'm not trying to be a news channel or a fucking educator on morals or politics whatsoever. This is just me trying to, you know, speak my mind about things. And yeah, this video was, in particular, was very disgusting in my opinion. Now, the other ones, it's a completely other thing, which is a picture. Here we go. So this is the picture. Okay. It's six women with guns, and they say, or not, I don't know if they said it, but this picture, right, has a caption. Why are these crackers threatening black colleges? Hey cousins, stay strapped. Right? Now, obviously, this is racially insensitive, right? This is just obviously this is a racist remarks towards white people. Whether you think crackers is a slur or not, the intention of using it, they could have just said white apes, or they could have said anything else that could, you know, that would insinuate that they're talking about a white person, right? They're not talking about criminals here. They're not talking about bad people here. They are specifically talking about white people here, right? And I've never done that. I don't think it's right. I think you should categorize people on good behavior or bad behavior, right? So if I would make a tweet like this, which I don't think I will ever, I would like formulate in the sense of why are these I don't know, bad people or criminals or deranged lunatics. I think that's also a very good word. Wild beasts, anything like that, threatening black colleges, right? Now obviously there's a bad thing, you know, you don't threaten people, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're Asian, whether they're you know, any like race you can think of. It's bad, right? I'm never condoning violence or threats or doxing or any of the sorts. I think that is not a good thing. I don't think that helps anyone. It is just dividing people even more, and it's just frankly, it's fighting against something that we're trying to defeat, right? And that is segregation, that is racism, that is discrimination, you know, sexism, you know, all those kind of things. Now then we have another video, which is about a retaliation on the right. Obviously, Charlie Kirk died, and people were mourning in his honor at a specific spot, and some very insensitive person, well, he went into a space that wasn't welcoming for him, which is obvious, right? Because he had bad intentions, he had ill will, he was not there to have conversation, he was just there to piss people off, to instigate, and to point fingers after people stop tolerating his bullshit, right? Looks like chaos broke out after a man was seen yelling "fuck Charlie Kirk" during his candlelight vigil, right? So yeah, there we go.
Get him the hey, he was hitting people. Get him the fuck out. Fuck your ass, bitch. Stop, dude. This guy. It's alright. Fuck. No, right in front.
Yeah, listen, okay. I'm gonna say something very crude, I guess. I think what this man did is completely his own fault. Alright? You fuck around, you find out, right? This is not good faith arguments. This is not good intentions. This is purely hatred. This is purely instigation. This is not something that anyone should tolerate, right? And even though, as you can tell from the video, there's a lot of people that tolerate him until one guy pushes him, right? One guy had enough. One guy, you know, snapped or lost his patience or whatever happened, right? You know, it's just very telling. Also, the fact that this man, he is wearing rainbows. We already know what that represents. That's already an ideology that the majority of these people that are here do not tolerate, do not respect, do not like, right? They are poking the bear, okay? This is very conscious. This is not some dude that had to like go through a street or whatever to get to his work or whatever, right? Like a lot of people are criticizing like not riots, protests about, right, that they're blocking the road for people that need to go to work and stuff. That's not this situation. This situation is completely different for that fact. And obviously this is a way to like, oh look, see, the right isn't tolerant at all, they're violent, right? But like eventually you piss enough people off, right? Intentionally, right? intentionally, and some people will snap, some people will retaliate, some people will have enough and they'll do something that isn't right, that is just human, right? Humans just aren't robots. They can't contain their emotions forever. Some people are better at it, some people are worse at it, and especially especially a situation like this where the emotions are high, people are like probably crying, you know. Like, I'm not really very sympathetic person. I would never claim to be one. I think it's very unfortunate that he died, or got murdered, I mean, my bad. But I wouldn't like cry or mourn or whatever, right? Because, I mean, I don't know this person. That's kind of how I work. If I don't know somebody, I don't really care what they do, what happens to them, right? If it affects me personally, or it's somebody I know that gets affected by this personally, then I have more of an emotional side. But outside of that, I'm very disconnected from a lot of emotions like that. At least from sadness, all right? Anger, I am a lot easier at. I'm a lot better at being angry and stuff like that. All right, so these are the videos I just saw today, right? All right, then there's this gentleman. I mean gentleman, he's not a gentleman at all. Young man. And, well, his final thoughts on this entire Charlie Kirk situation. And you can already guess what his response is gonna be, but, I'm just gonna let it play. Here we go.
Look, I'm gonna need a lot of y'all motherfuckers to be fucking for real for a moment. But those who are shaming people for lacking empathy for Charlie Kirk, I'm gonna need y'all to understand that empathy is a two-way street. Even though I express my condolences, even though I wish well wishes to him and his family, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to be on the same wavelength as me. Y'all have to understand that this same man picked and poked fun at people who were victims of gun violence, children who were murdered in schools, trans people, black people, victims of police brutality. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you're asking these same victims who were literally being poked and made fun at by Charlie Kirk on a large platform are supposed to somehow just overnight just gain empathy for this man. And it's just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think what he said there is entirely correct. I do think that Charlie Kirk definitely instigated a lot of, you know, emotional subject, right? Emotional charged stuff. But it's not, he never made fun of anyone. He has definitely criticized a lot of things. You could also argue that there was a lot of insensitive things that he said or have done, right? I would never hold that against anyone that says that, because I agree with that, right? I don't think this Charlie Kirk was a saint or whatever, right? Like, he was far from it, you know. He thought he did what he thought was right, obviously, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't do what he was doing. But he definitely stepped on toes, right? But at least this is my issue, right? It's not like I expect people to be mourning or like crying or like be sad about this murder. I would like them to not cheer for murder. That's where I draw the line. I don't care if somebody doesn't care about him, right? I don't really give a damn. I really don't. But I do care when somebody goes out there and cheers for somebody's death. I mean, they've done that for Trump as well. I mean, I'm not like a huge Trump supporter whatsoever. I mean, obviously, I'm not even a fucking American. That's first and foremost, right? But this goes further than just America. This is a social media. This is a human interaction thing. All right, everyone that speaks English knows about this stuff when they're on social media, right? You know, this goes further than just somebody getting shot. This goes further than that. This is almost symbolical. The person who is arguably one of the biggest advocates for freedom of speech and discourse, right? And conversation and against violence and stuff like that, and he got shot. Like that's the thing, right?
It's just interesting to me that the same people that are crying about Charlie Kirk was acting like this yesterday.
A blinder Bob that works no jobs, who hates black kids and call the cops. True religion pants and a salt of a cracker. Black lives don't matter. You cannot have it both.
Yeah, okay, here you go. Like, this is a generalization, which is gross. I'll never do that. I think generalization is one of the dumbest and worst thing you can do in an argument, because the moment you generalize a whole group based on race or anything other insignificant like that, you already lost me. Like, criticize behavior, criticize expressing, or not expressing, speech, right? You can criticize those. Those are intended. Those are conscious decisions. However, somebody who looks a certain way, you know, that doesn't matter at all. Even if you support or like, you know, not hate somebody, that's already enough. Like, the moment you tolerate a person or somebody's opinion, you're already the bad guy for some groups of people, right? That's like where I also draw a line. Like, generalizing is dumb. Okay, it is bad, and Charlie Kirk is definitely somebody who does that as well. He has generalized a lot of things. You know, he also you know, brings up a lot of the statistic stuff, right? Like the crime, the black on black crime and stuff, right? Like, all that's, you know, personally, I really don't care. All right, I am more of the opinion of get criminals the fuck out. And that doesn't mean black people. That means criminals. Alright? I don't care if they are white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. I don't give a damn, bro. Criminals should get served what they owed. Does that make sense? I don't know. Whatever. Like, criminals need to be brought to not justice. Yeah, criminals need brought to justice. You know, they need to get what they deserve. Whether that is a fine, whether that is prison time, whether that is whatever, right? And the black on black crime stuff, I mean, obviously that is very terrible, right? But that's all gotta do with culture. That's all got to do with living environments. That all got to do with what you have and what you can lose, right? Like, people who have little to lose would definitely have more, will go to gain something harder than somebody who has a lot to lose. They will be more careful about how they operate. And I'm not saying that, you know, people, that black people are poor. I'm saying poor neighborhoods are poor. That's a very obvious fact. And poor people tend to, you know, act out because they have little to lose. You know, I understand that. I understand this like behavior of these people. You know, like, they have nothing to lose. All they got is maybe, I don't know, their gang or their neighborhood, or they have, like, I don't know, like some illegal business going on, right? Like, it's just, it will happen more often in poor neighborhoods than it will in richer neighborhoods, because they have more to lose than the poor people, you know? Anyway.
Both ways, babes. And I'm not telling people what to do or how to feel in this moment. I'm allowing people to be human and go through the emotions. But I do know this. Our current president, who's sitting in office, still perpetuating the same violence that got us to this place. And rather than taking accountability for right-wing violent rhetoric, he wants to blame the left for what happened to Charlie Kirk. Now all of us, including every content creator, even fucking damn political pundits, we all have targets on our backs when we didn't even do shit.
Okay, so this is also a very valid opinion of his, but I do think that it's a very bad generalization. Again, right? Obviously there's a war between the left and the right, right? That's obvious. It has been going on for years now, and it's only been getting worse, and I'm not seeing it stop anytime soon either. But this is like, obviously, you know, he feels antagonized, right? He feels blamed for something that, you know, isn't anything he did, right? He did not shoot the bullet. He did not, you know, have anything to do with this murder, right? So the moment like a political figure, especially like the president of the United States, comes out, which is a terrible statement he made, in my opinion, is that this came from the left. Well, it is a very plausible thing that happened. You need to wait until you actually have proof of this, because now you're just instigating, or like not instigating, like now you're just like provoking this like stupid like war between the left and the right even more, which Trump has been doing a lot of times. This is not the first time at all. And it's just so frustrating, right? Because this is not how you try to unify people. This is not how you try to come to an agreement, to come to a standpoint with each other, right? Like, this is not how you do it. And Trump is not somebody who tries to do that. Like, that's very obvious. But I do believe that the left has also not done that, right? They have not come to like try to make this agreement, or like, you know, try to come halfway, you know? Like, you either accept all the bullshit that they advocate or that they believe in, or you're the worst person on earth. And that's definitely a big issue with like the left and the right, where the left is just looks to be very intolerant towards people who aren't tolerant towards their beliefs. For example, like the biggest issue is definitely the trans issue, right? And the trans issue is the most significant section is definitely the fact that they are advocating towards trans medicine, I suppose. At least that's how they call it. I call it drugs. But they're advocating for these drugs that essentially castrate young girls and young boys because they believe they're trans. Listen, man, like this child is like 6 years old. You know what a 6-year-old thinks about? They don't think about that. They don't think about that. At least they shouldn't be thinking about that unless you put it in their heads. A 6-year-old is not looking for, oh, am I a boy or am I a girl? They're not looking for that. They should be thinking about, what a toy am I gonna play with today? What am I gonna do after school? What friends am I gonna hang out with? It is very disturbing that these parents or adults who are trying to like creepily like brainwash these children to think about things that they shouldn't even think about yet. Like, oh, I feel weird, or oh, I feel out of place. Yeah, guess what? That's because you're growing. You don't know what you are yet because you are not fully developed. You know, and that's my biggest issue with trans stuff. I don't have a huge issue with like gay or like lesbian, same thing, gay, you know. I don't have a big issue with that because that is pretty much from birth, right? You get born a certain way, and whether you get attracted to the same sex or the different sex, that's decided on birth. At least that's what I believe. I believe there's also a lot of studies suggesting that. If I'm wrong, you know, feel free to, you know, point it out. I'm not trying to like talk about stuff that, you know, isn't correct. So that's why I'm stating that this is what I think and what I've read and what I know, right? So I don't have a huge issue with that, right? Obviously already drawing the line at like this like children relationship stuff, you know, like, oh look, Jimmy got a crush on I don't know, Jenny or whatever, right? Like, bro, he's 6 years old, you know. Anyway, so yeah, so the trans issue is the biggest issue because they're trying to get to their kids, right? They're trying to get to impressionable kids, and I think that's a very dangerous thing to do because kids are supposed to be guided by adults. But the moment adults are starting to like trying to brainwash or like make them believe things, put things in their heads that aren't true or are way more nuanced than they're trying to portray it as, and then they're going to a doctor and say like, "Yo, my son is trans, so he needs estrogen." Like, stop right there, bro. Stop right there. Like, that is crazy. That's insane. That's why a lot of people have an issue with the tea. And I'm not saying not a lot of people have also the whole communities, have a huge issue with them, but the tea is the most biggest offender, I believe. I think the tea has literally been working against the whole community this whole entire time. Like this started with being with sexuality. It means either you are gay, so you are attracted to the same sex, or you're attracted to both sex. That's where it started, right? The LGB, right? And then the T came, and then it suddenly began about like something completely different, like that a mental deficiency issue. These are the things that mentally ill people are thinking about. Oh, I don't feel like this. Oh, I don't feel like that. Well, guess what, bitch? Some people feel like that. Some people don't feel like that. That doesn't mean you can just go ahead and force children to undergo like surgeries or drug treatments. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, he generalized the right, and like saying stuff like that.
You would think that after losing one of their right-wing warriors, and rather than blaming the left and liberals, they would actually go after the fucking gun lobby. But no.
No, because they firmly believe that guns are essential, which I don't really understand that much. I think guns do more bad than good. That makes sense, right? Like for example, I live in a country we don't have guns. Guns are not a thing here, right? Like maybe the select few people have like a gun, but that's not a very easy thing to get to, right? And we don't or barely have any gun violence. Like I remember in my whole entire life, I think there's been 2 people who have shut up malls here. 2 people. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the fact is that if guns, are not easily accessible, statistically, that means that the majority of the time, gun violence wouldn't be a thing, right? So I'm not advocating for I'm not like a gun kind of like advocate at all. I don't think it's a good thing at all. But I do believe that in the climate that is in the USA, right? I do believe if they take away the guns, then the bad people will keep their guns and this shit will still keep going. Now, I would say, the majority of the school shootings, which are primarily from primarily Caucasian race, right? Or descent, or whatever the fuck that means. I do believe if, people like that don't have guns, right? The mentally deranged people who shoot up schools, I do believe then those stuff doesn't happen anymore, Like, I think it's horrible that all these, like, schools are getting shot up by these, mentally deranged individuals. And I do believe that, if you restrict guns significantly, I think that would increase the safety of schools. And I think that should be a priority.
That's not what they're going to do, because conservatives' Achilles heel has always been accountability.
Yeah, again, this is another very bad generalization again. The Achilles heel of the right, or not the right, conservatives, he said, right? Yeah, conservatives, accountability. I think that's a human thing. A lot of humans don't take accountability for any of their actions, because accountability takes a lot of maturity and wisdom. Taking accountability for your actions is definitely not something that the average Joe can do, or like is willing to do, because it's very difficult. A lot of people are not like, a lot of people don't understand the fact that being a good person is the most difficult thing, because you see around you see everyone doing bad things and profiting about that, but you're trying to be a good person. It's not like helping you, it's working against you. For example, lying will save you a lot of trouble. Being honest is very troublesome. So this would like incentivize you to be a liar, right? To lie. Now, I don't have a huge issue with lying, right? I mean, I think the white lie, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever, right? But I am somebody who is really truthful and very honest about pretty much everything. And it has bitten me in the ass every single fucking time, bro. Like, it is very frustrating to be an honest person and then you're realizing, like, being honest is only working against you. So, the fact that people don't acknowledge that good people are the strongest people out there, and when good people finally snap, or like they had enough, their outrage, their how do I say this? Their reactions are going to be way more extreme than somebody who has been doing, you know, a lot of bad things, or like insignificant small bad things every single time, right? It's like if you keep this like stuff contained, right? If you don't ever be a bad person, you just feel so fucked. It feels like everything is against you. All right, here we have another video of a person, and yeah, there we go.
Charlie Kirk, who was the co-founder of Turning Point USA, has died after being shot at a college event in Utah. Politicians on both sides of the aisle had expressed their condolences and had condemned this act of violence against a political figure. But let's keep in mind, though, Charlie Kirk was the same person who...
But you hear this shit, dude? So even when Barack Obama himself says this is not good, this is not what we stand for as Americans, even when Kamala Harris, right? That's how I say it, right? Kamala? I don't know. I've heard like different versions. When she like literally comes out tweeting about this is not what we stand for, like even like the most iconic left-wing or liberal icons in America are talking about this is not okay, we should not condone this, we should condemn this. Then we have this bitch saying but after saying that. This is what I mean, man. Like, the left has been like brainwashed. It is just, the left has like this like idea of, if you agree with me, you're good. But if you don't agree with me, you are the worst person I can ever think of. Like you have seen with like Dean Withers, or Weathers, whatever. Like we'll get to that on this video probably as well. But like, anyway, let's continue.
said stuff like this.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools. Yes. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. Wow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
Now that he...
Yeah, right? So what he said, essentially, is there are necessary evils that are unfortunately needing to happen. Like I already said, like previously, I am not a gun guy. I'll probably never be one. I never grew up in that culture. I never grew up on that, like, mindset or whatever, right? I never held a gun in my life. Maybe like I held a paintball gun, I guess, right? Paintball gun. But outside of that, I have no experience with that whatsoever, right? So what he says here, right? He thinks that this necessary evil, which I've seen this clip full entirely. He always also says after this like something about like, oh, well, people drive cars and there's like 50,000 car deaths per year. But it is an unfortunate thing. However, it is still it benefits more people than it hurts, if that makes sense, right? So that's why that's not a necessary evil. And I believe if you don't understand the concept of necessarily evil, then you already lost You already lost if you don't understand what he's saying. You already lost. If you can't grasp that fact that there are necessary evils in the world. There's doctors that save hundreds, maybe thousands of people per their lifetime. There will be patients that they will have fucked up on and they die because of them. Now, should we get rid of doctors or surgeons because some of them murder on accident? No. That is just something, a necessary evil. That just happens. Because humans are human. We're not robots. We're not perfect. Right? And even if you are a surgeon, you will make mistakes that can cost people's lives. That can cost people's mobility. Like, for example, a surgeon is operating on somebody's spine, right? The moment you do something wrong and you touch a nerve or whatever, that person can be paralyzed. I think if you don't grasp the fact that the world isn't fair, that the world has things in it that are bad, right? That are necessary evils. If you don't grasp that, you should not be talking at all.
He is a victim of gun violence because he's no longer with us. I want to know, will his party tone down the temperature and pass comprehensive gun reform? Because the same folks in his party that are saying stuff like this now.
How our politics is being conducted today. And I think it's just tragic for our country.
In college, you used to be able to walk in those doors and just walk right into the Capitol. And it didn't have any of the security.
I have asked for a meeting with the Sergeant at Arms. I will get it hopefully today. I am very worried about security measures and security protocols. We've gone through this before. I am more concerned about it now than I've ever been.
Did not say anything or express any regards when our children were murdered by guns, and the two
Children are not murdered by guns, they're murdered by the people wielding the gun. You will never ever convince me otherwise, okay? Guns don't kill people. People kill people. A gun is a tool to protect and to hurt. It's like a sword. Sword can protect and can kill. Hell, a knife. People's words. Like anything has as long as the intentions are pure or unpure, the result will be what the person wants it to be. If you want to hurt somebody with your words, you'll likely succeed. If you don't want to hurt people with your voice, then you will likely succeed. It's just foolish. It's just foolish. Why would they suddenly switch up now? Why would they switch up now? This will only enforce their beliefs even more.
Politicians a few months ago were killed in their homes by a mass shooter. So all I'm saying is, are they going to tone down the rhetoric and pass gun legislation? I don't know. Time will tell. But all of this is on the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is the reason why we have division in this country.
All right, here we go again. Another person that just goes on and generalizes a whole group. She's acting like the left, you know, I don't know, never gotten rid of guns at all. They had like years of presidents that were liberal. Why didn't they get rid of guns? Because they wanted them. They kept them. Like, this is not an issue on guns. This is not a gun issue. This is a mental issue. People are mentally ill. But obviously blaming, you know, Republicans or the right or the person that you deem are the bad guys is way easier than actually thinking, rationalizing what is really the issue here. And the main issue is that there's a mental health crisis. People have been under-medicated. People have that should be in mental institutions aren't. People who have mental issues that are just out there, you know, behaving like a lunatic. Like, this is not like any reasonable and normal person would never do something like this. There is a mind virus, in a manner of speaking, in today's society of the mental health of people. Like, no normal, functioning, rational human being would do this. But yeah, it's the rights issue, of course. It's the right that did this, yeah.
Not just in our politics, but our religious reviews and just overall conversation in our education. So yeah, the chickens have came home to roost, and now this happened, Republicans have to grapple at the fact that maybe they need to tone down the rhetoric, and maybe they should pass some comprehensive gun legislation. And the fucking time is now. Yeah,
it is also very disgusting that this person used this Charlie Kirk's death to promote her agenda. It is very disturbing, I'm not going to lie. Alright, so this is what I had to say. Wholly biased leftist. The vision didn't come out of thin air. As a non-American, I can educate you on the fact that everywhere is division. Blaming Trump or the right is easy because the releases you of any responsibilities, which is 100% correct. It is very easy to blame others than to look at yourself, to look at it in a different perspective, to understand both perspectives, because that's very difficult. It's very difficult to step in somebody's shoes that you do not like. It's very difficult, and I also struggle with that a lot. I try to be as objective about everything as I can, but that doesn't mean I always succeed, and that's okay. As long as you're trying to be objective, as long as you're trying to be fair, I think that's all you need to do. All right, so this video is the right. Like I said, I criticize whatever I think should be criticized. And this is a person, I'm assuming Republican, and she has this to say.
Well, Trump just announced that Charlie Kirk did pass. No, he didn't pass. He was fucking murdered. So here's my message to the President of the United States. I'm not going to say that I speak for everybody else or anybody else. But as a taxpaying citizen of this country who has spent years being attacked by the vile left, we want true justice. So give us the green light or handle it yourself with the military. Each and every one of them. All of them. We want public executions because you see it hasn't been freedom for all in this country over the last 5+ years. This country has been ran through by the left. We have been forced into silence or threats of our lives being taken from us. Some have actually lost their lives due to that, the latest being Charlie Kirk. So I ask, give us the green light or do it yourself. But one way or another, we aren't living with the vile left anymore. And if anybody thinks that this is going to scare us into hiding or being quiet, it just did the opposite. I do hope you handle them swiftly, because one way or another, there's no going back. There is no peace. It's over.
Alright, so that was the video of this woman, which I said, somebody please give this woman her pills, because this is obviously an outrageous thing to say. She is pretty much insinuating that she wants people to... honestly, I don't know what she really wants, but it's not anything good, and it is something that is very extreme and radical, and something I completely do not agree with. Now, just because I don't agree with what she says, right, it doesn't mean that I don't understand this reaction. I understand this completely. Like she says, like she gets, there's a lot of discrimination against white people in America, whether you want to believe that or not. It is a fact that it has definitely been an ongoing issue that white people have been demonized and seen as less human than others, right? And it's going like the opposite way of what black people used to go through in America, right? And the whole world, I guess, right? I don't think racism is only an American thing. I mean, racism is everywhere because humans are pieces of shit at hearts, right? But yeah, like it is very understandable that that a beast that gets cornered fights back, right? And this is like just a trigger event for the pendulum to swing. And I understand this completely. I understand her rage, I understand her fear, I understand her intentions. I completely understand everything. Just because you want that to happen doesn't mean that's okay to happen. Alright, here we go. We got another video about a very hateful individual right here.
If you're celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, you're a bad person. You're going to hell. Man. Fuck Charlie Kirk. The off-ramp to the high road is closed. We are not going to be made to feel bad about y'all bullshit hero that consistently spewed harmful rhetoric, that consistently put people's lives in danger with the bullshit platform that he was given by all of you racist goofies. This has nothing to do with conservative versus liberal. This has nothing to do with Democrat versus Republican. This has nothing to do with the left versus the right, because that's what y'all gonna prop it up as. And the alleged suspect is an old white guy. But bet the mainstream media won't be talking about white-on-white violence. They won't be talking about gun control. They're gonna say there was an isolated incident by a lone shooter. And they're gonna hold off the identity for as long as they can, and it's gonna end up being a white guy. But we're not talking about these dangerous white men.
No, it's gonna be a criminal. Gonna be a dangerous individual that should be getting justice. You see, this like racist mindset is just a bad thing, and I think he's not the only person that does this, you know, and he's not the only person on his side that does this. It is both sides. Both sides have like this decisive mindset that, oh, black people or oh, white people. Like it's so unfortunate that this is a thing. It is so unfortunate that people get demonized based on their skin instead of their actual behavior, right? And he's definitely been a victim of both sides.
That just decide to get a gun and just start killing people. We're not going to be gaslit to feel bad about a terrible person. Is what happened to him sad?
A terrible person. He calls Charlie Kirk a terrible person because he goes in with good faith and has arguments with people about things. If he's a bad person, then what is a rapist? Like, what's the difference then? Might as well call everyone like bad people. Oh, there's somebody who talks about sensitive topics. Oh, he's a bad person because he talks about things that hurt my feelings. He talks about things that that promotes me to think about situations. Like, the only reason why people call him a racist is because he skewed certain statistics about like violence, right? Which is bad. Obviously, I don't think that's good, you know. But outside of that, he talks about things that are necessary to talk about. There's definitely a lot of things, especially in black communities, that is worth talking about. Now, maybe Charlie Kirk isn't the best person to do it. Maybe he's not doing it the way he should have done it, or would be the best way to do it. But at least he's doing it. There's a lot of people that are not doing it. A lot of people don't talk about real issues. I'm not only talking about black community issues. I'm talking about real issues that affect people day to day. Maybe Charlie Kirk wasn't the best person to do that. And for a fact, I think he wasn't. There's another guy, I don't remember his name, and he does the same thing, right? I call him like the black Charlie Kirk. It's a little bit disrespectful towards him because he's obviously an individual, right? He has his own person. He's his own person, I mean. But I just don't remember his name. I'm very bad at names, by the way. That's not because I just don't remember him. I just don't remember names overall. But he is like the same kind of mindset that Charlie Kirk has. He talks about the same things, but because he is black, he gets more tolerance towards it. And I understand that, because if you're black and you talk about black issues, a lot of people will be more likely to be tolerant towards it, because they are going to assume that this individual has gone through these struggles that are primarily a black person's experiences, right? So it's easier to like accept somebody talking about it, right? Especially if you're racist. Hearing a white person talk about struggles that they likely have never experienced, that is definitely not something you like.
Abso-fucking-lutely. However, fuck that guy. I don't condone what happened to him, but guess what? God's timing is always right. Good day.
Yeah, that's horrific to say. That's actually, or especially the fact that you're putting religion in this, the fact that you say this is God's will. And I've seen like a lot of I've also seen like a lot of Muslim kind of videos about this, like saying that you know, we'll get to that. Like this just how he ends it, that is pure hate. This is not like rational at all. This is pure hate. And the fact that this guy has 1.5 million followers on TikTok is the most disturbing part. But guess what? Like the fact that he says but, like,
God's timing is always right.
God's timing is always right, man. It's unbelievable, bro. It is actually disgusting to say that. Especially the fact that, from what I know, I am not a Christian. The Christian God is a forgiving God. That it was the whole point. He flooded the earth just to like say, this will be the last time I will be interfering in such a significant scale. And the fact that you're thinking that it was God's will for Charlie Kirk to die, to get shot in front of his family, you should be ashamed of yourself. So this is what I said. You don't need to feel bad. You shouldn't feel joy from getting from somebody getting murdered. Racist fuck what. All right, here we got another video. So there's a very wholesome video about Charlie Kirk's daughter running up to him, right? But then there's like this bitter person who said this. Mind you, he said if she got raped, he would force her to have a baby. This comes from a Jubilee video where he got like this hypothetical situation where if his daughter got raped, if he would bring the baby to term. Now, obviously, Charlie Kirk is a huge advocate for pro-life. So he said, I would make sure that she gives birth to the baby, right? And obviously this is like a very moral issue. Like it's like, oh, what is important in a person's life? I am of the opinion that life is only important if there is experience. And I think if a baby is in utero, I think the mother should be very upset, should be feeling very horrified of what she did. But I don't think it shouldn't be as demonized as it is right now. I think if you get an abortion, I think obviously you already made a mistake about, like, you know, not being protective enough if you weren't ready for you know, the adult responsibility, right? But luckily science is far enough that we can help people that in need, that needs to you know, that are not ready, whether it's financially or mentally, to have a baby, that they can be helped and, you know, the slate wiped clean, right? But what I do think is, and that pisses me off a lot actually, is especially from the fact that my mother had a miscarriage, right? I'm actually the third child. There would have been a person before me, right? And I would have probably not existed if it happened. But regardless, the fact that there's like women out there that are like seeing this thing, this abortion thing of like a easy fix, right? They're not giving it the respect that it should. It's still a life you're taking. I don't think it shouldn't exist. I think it is actually a very good thing that it exists. Right? Not saying that I'm glad there's like a thing that, you know, kill babies. I don't think that's a good thing at all. But I do believe that a baby born in poverty is child abuse. A baby born in I don't know, in a household that has abusive parents, right? Which these people already had abuse or violent tendencies before. Right? And they now are abusing their own son or own daughter in whatever way possible, right? I think that is child abuse. And then there's people that do not deserve to be parents. I truly believe that there's people that do not deserve to be parents. I'm even of the firm belief that we should regulate whoever gives birth. But that's a whole different topic. But yeah, so that's what he said. And then I said this. Difficult situations require hard choices. Not like you would understand that. He, him in bio, like that's already a red flag to me. And then he has like the Palestinian flag with Free Palestine. Also a red flag. And I believe that's the Texas flag. I'm not sure if that is the case, but I believe it is. It's just very telling about this whole thing. This is all bad, very bad things. All right, this is going to be the last video we watch because this video is already like 1 hour plus. Didn't mean to go that long, but apparently I have a lot to say, you know, a lot of opinions to share. Anyway, here we got another video of a conservative person. There we go.
This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. They just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving in a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
Alright, well that was the video. And I had this to say. When I was in middle school, I had anger issues, which is true. I probably look like this. This man is a grown adult. Maybe before filming yourself, collect your thoughts and emotions so you don't look like middle school me. And I fully think that. I think people who cry or like be very emotional on camera, like it's not helping anyone. It's only making you look like a very sensitive bitch. And I just don't think it's a good look for anyone, whether you're a man or a woman. Like it doesn't look good. So yeah, anyway, that was the end of this video. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, about my opinions. Was I fair? Was I unfair? I really wanna, you know, I would like you to be very honest. Okay, you don't need to worry about, you know, hurting my feelings or whatever, because I barely have any. Anyway, with that being said, let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and that's about it. Take care, chat. Peace out.